Welcome to our channel. In this video, we're delving into the top 10 most corrupt countries in Europe in 2024. Corruption remains a significant challenge across the continent, affecting governance, public trust, and economic stability. Join us as we explore the complexities and the extent of corruption in these European countries, and how it impacts their societies. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it insightful. At the top of our list is Ukraine. Despite ongoing efforts to combat corruption, Ukraine continues to struggle with widespread bribery and political influence. The country's corruption issues are deeply rooted, stemming from the post-Soviet transition period. Key sectors such as energy, healthcare, and public procurement are particularly affected by corruption. High-profile cases like the mismanagement of foreign aid and funds allocated for military purposes during the ongoing conflict with Russia have revealed the extent of corruption within the government and judiciary. The National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, NABU, and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, SAPO, have been instrumental in tackling corruption, yet they face significant political pressure and obstacles. The judiciary remains a critical weak point, with many judges accused of accepting bribes to sway decisions. Civil society and international partners, including the EU and the United States, continue to push for reforms, offering financial and technical assistance to strengthen anti-corruption institutions. However, the war with Russia has further complicated anti-corruption efforts, diverting resources and attention. Despite these challenges, there is hope. Grassroots movements and a new generation of reform-minded politicians are emerging, committed to building a transparent and accountable government. Next is Russia, where corruption permeates all levels of society. From local government officials to top-tier politicians, bribery and embezzlement are rampant. The Russian government's control over media and judiciary hampers investigative efforts, making it difficult for anti-corruption agencies to operate effectively. Key industries such as energy, construction, and defense are particularly susceptible to corrupt practices. One notable example is the embezzlement of funds intended for infrastructure projects. Large-scale projects often see significant portions of the budget siphoned off through inflated contracts and kickbacks. The infamous Rotenberg Law, which reimburses sanctioned individuals using state funds, exemplifies the deep connections between business and political elites. The lack of transparency and accountability in state institutions fuels corruption. Anti-corruption activists and journalists who attempt to expose these practices face severe repercussions, including imprisonment and, in some cases, assassination. International sanctions and economic challenges exacerbate the situation, making it difficult to implement effective anti-corruption measures. Despite this grim landscape, there are pockets of resistance, with NGOs and independent media continuing to fight for transparency and justice. Albania ranks high on the corruption index, with issues spanning from organized crime to political corruption. The country's strategic location on the Balkan route has made it a hotspot for drug trafficking and money laundering, further entrenching corruption. Public procurement, particularly in construction and infrastructure projects, is often plagued by corrupt practices. Efforts to join the European Union have pushed Albania to address these problems, but progress remains slow. The judiciary and law enforcement agencies are perceived as highly corrupt, with judges and police officers frequently implicated in bribery and favoritism. High-profile cases, such as those involving former ministers and business magnates, have highlighted the systemic nature of corruption. The government has introduced several reforms, including the establishment of specialized anti-corruption bodies and the vetting of judges and prosecutors. However, these measures often face resistance from entrenched interests. International organizations, including the EU and the United States, continue to provide support and urge the Albanian government to intensify its efforts. Civil society groups and investigative journalists play a crucial role in exposing corruption and advocating for transparency. 4 is Moldova. Moldova faces significant corruption challenges, particularly in its financial sector. The infamous billion-dollar bank fraud scandal, in which approximately 1/8 of the country's GDP was stolen, revealed the extent of corruption and its impact on the economy. This scandal involved high-ranking politicians and business figures, shaking public confidence in the government. Corruption in Moldova affects various sectors, including healthcare, education, and public procurement. The judiciary is also deeply compromised, with many judges accused of taking bribes to influence decisions. Political instability further complicates anti-corruption efforts, as frequent changes in government disrupt the continuity of reforms. Despite government promises for reform, progress has been sluggish. The Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office and the National Integrity Authority have been established to tackle corruption, but they often lack the necessary resources and political backing. International assistance and civil society pressure are crucial for driving change. The EU and other international partners provide financial and technical support to strengthen Moldova's anti-corruption framework and promote transparency. 5. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Corruption in Bosnia and Herzegovina is deeply entrenched, affecting both public and private sectors. The complex governance structure, resulting from the Dayton Agreement, creates multiple layers of government, making it difficult to implement cohesive anti-corruption strategies. Political patronage and nepotism are common, with politicians often using their positions for personal gain. Public procurement, particularly in infrastructure projects, is rife with corruption. Contracts are frequently awarded based on political connections rather than merit, leading to substandard work and inflated costs. The judiciary and law enforcement agencies are also plagued by corruption, undermining the rule of law. High-profile investigations and convictions have revealed deep-rooted issues within the state's political system. International bodies, such as the EU and the Office of the High Representative, alongside local activists, continue to push for stronger governance and accountability. 6. Serbia. Serbia's corruption issues are pervasive, with significant challenges in the judiciary and public administration. Political influence over state institutions and media hinders transparency and accountability. Corruption is particularly prevalent in public procurement, healthcare, and the construction industry. Efforts to join the European Union have driven some reforms, but much work remains. The Anti-Corruption Agency and the Anti-Corruption Council have been established to tackle corruption, but their effectiveness is often limited by political interference. High-profile cases involving politicians and business figures have highlighted the systemic nature of corruption. Civil society organizations play a critical role in monitoring and advocating for anti-corruption measures. Investigative journalists have exposed numerous corruption scandals, often facing significant risks in doing so. 7. North Macedonia. North Macedonia has made strides in addressing corruption, but significant challenges persist. Political interference in the judiciary and public administration continues to be a major issue. Corruption is particularly prevalent in public procurement and the healthcare sector. EU accession talks have spurred some reforms, yet public trust in institutions remains low. The establishment of the State Commission for Prevention of Corruption and other anti-corruption bodies has been a step in the right direction. However, these institutions often face political pressure and lack the necessary resources to operate effectively. 8. Bulgaria. Bulgaria struggles with high levels of corruption, particularly in public procurement and the judiciary. Despite being an EU member, Bulgaria has faced criticism for its slow progress in implementing anti-corruption measures. High-profile cases involving politicians and business figures have revealed the extent of corruption and its impact on the economy. Civil society and media face pressure, hindering their ability to hold officials accountable. Investigative journalists who expose corruption often face threats and harassment. The judiciary is perceived as corrupt, with many judges accused of taking bribes to influence decisions. 9. Romania. Romania has a mixed record on corruption, with significant achievements in some areas and persistent issues in others. The National Anti-Corruption Directorate, DNA, has been effective in prosecuting high-profile cases, including those involving politicians and business figures. However, political interference and judicial corruption remain significant challenges. Corruption is prevalent in public procurement, healthcare, and the judiciary. Efforts to strengthen the rule of law and independent institutions are necessary to maintain progress. Civil society organizations and investigative journalists play a crucial role in exposing corruption and advocating for reform. 10. Hungary. Rounding out our list is Hungary. Corruption in Hungary has worsened in recent years, with concerns about the rule of law and democratic backsliding. Political influence over media and judiciary undermines accountability, while EU funds are often misused. High-profile cases have revealed the extent of corruption and its impact on the economy. Civil society and independent media face significant pressure, hindering their ability to hold officials accountable. The judiciary is perceived as compromised, with many judges accused of taking bribes to influence decisions. The government's control over state institutions and media exacerbates the situation, making it difficult to implement effective anti-corruption measures. Corruption in Europe varies in form and severity, but its impact on governance, public trust, and economic stability is universally detrimental. Addressing these issues requires a concerted effort from governments, civil society, and international partners. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into Europe's most corrupt countries in 2024. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it insightful. See you next time.